Hey guys, Bryan Bedford here, CEO of Route, and today we are thrilled to have a wonderful and talented guest, Diane Bloodworth, with us today. We're going to talk about data, how coaches, recruiting staffs, player personnel staffs go through the countless numbers of recruits and information and how they make sense of all that. And for you as a recruit, today's session is really to give you kind of a peek behind the scenes a little bit on how the process works, what goes into all of this, all of the mishmash of information that's out there, and really probably why coaches are asking you to deliver the kinds of information that you're getting requested. Diane, your background, you've been a serial entrepreneurial in the world of sports and sports tech and CEO of ScoutSMART, and you work directly with recruiting directors, directors of player personnel, and have been on this journey. Thanks for being with us today, Diane.
Thank you, Bryan. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we're going to ask you a couple questions. I want to get your kind of industry point of view and perspective. And as we try to help parents and student athletes make sense of the recruiting process, recruiting is certainly changing rapidly, and our recruits are being asked to fill out all sorts of forms and questionnaires, and it feels kind of crazy redundant in a lot of different ways. As you talk to recruiting coordinators, what are they doing with all this information? How are they managing it? Like, give us a sense of your industry point of view on what are they doing and how do they manage all of this stuff as you see it, Diane?
Well, I think they feel like there's almost too much data for them right now, almost
Yep.
an overload of data for them to filter through all the information. And then on the other hand, they also talk about missing some data points for some recruits they're interested in, not being able to find out a GPA or to get their huddle video link. Just as the recruits uh, feel like it's a data grind, so do the recruiting coordinators. I mean, they're spending a lot of time trying to pull all this together. And really, the way they manage it varies kind of the level of play. There's some pretty sophisticated systems, in your Power Five schools, but, there's still a lot of schools just using Excel spreadsheets as well to collect all that data. And I would tell the recruit, hey, get all your data together. There's really no downside to putting your data in multiple places. Make sure it's complete. Make sure your Twitter profile's got a way to at least contact you and your key information on your Twitter profile and your huddle profile in order for coaches to find you easily. They're not going to spend a lot of time if they can't get your information.
Yeah, I echo that. And I would also echo be as accurate as you possibly can be with everything that you put out there. If you're 5'10", you need to put your 5'10". It's okay. Like, they're going to find out one way or the other. They're going to verify every piece of data element just like the NFL does or any other sport would do it in the professional leagues. They're going to verify it. So you add a bit of credibility when what you put down and in a questionnaire or in a portal or whatever it is, make sure it's as accurate as possible.
Yeah, I agree, Bryan. That's the one question we get consistently from coaches. Where's your data coming from?
Right.
We get it from multiple sources, including the high school coaches and the recruits. And they have said they don't believe height and weight generally unless it's been verified, unless that player has come to campus and been measured or went to, for example, a Nike camp. And we even in ScoutSMART have a way to put green check marks when the height and weight's been verified.
Right.
And so accurate and up-to-date information is key.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think there's been this tendency to overinflate 40 times in height and weight and all these kinds of things, and so we've built a generation of coaches that now are very skeptical, and candidly, they probably should be because everybody has a lot of people fudge on these kinds of things, and so. But I would tell you that genuinely speaking, be as accurate as you can on that. All right. Diane, let's double click into that kind of the world of data revolution and kind of what's happening as you talk to recruiting coordinators. Um, give us a peek behind the fence of kind of the steps that they're going through as they, formulate their initial list and they try to down select a group of players by position. Um, what are kind of, if you could describe that to a recruit and to a parent, and then maybe some of the challenges that they're expressing to you as they go through that process. I think a peek behind the curtain to kind of what typically goes on. And I know this is kind of a hard to do because there's lots of different ways that it happens at different levels and different third parties and services and all these kinds of things. But if you could give a peek behind the curtain to kind of how that process works, I think trying to demystify that kind of that funnel of recruiting activity would be really helpful to recruits and parents if you could.
Of course. First of all, they really got to make sure they're clear on their needs. And I know that sounds basic, but with the extra year with COVID and that kind of carrying over for a while and the transfer portal, sometimes they're not exactly sure what their depth looks like on their own roster. So
Right.
that's kind of the first step. So, if you are a quarterback, not every school is going to be looking for a lot of quarterbacks this year. So really it is position specific as well as their needs. And then they usually have multiple sources of getting data. Like you said, we want them to use ScoutSMART as much as possible. There's a lot of different ways. They can go out to Twitter, Huddle. They subscribe to services. Like you said, they might use a national preps or something to help them find recruits. And then, a lot of recruits reach out to them as well, sending them messages and DMs and that type of thing. And if that is you as a recruit, make sure you stand out. I mean, we get a lot of even DMs on Twitter. And if you just send us your huddle link, I mean, we get hundreds of those. But if somebody sends a real message, an authentic message, and kind of understands what we do and how we might be able to help them, that goes a long way. But these coaches are then trying to get through all of this data and come up with kind of a pretty good list of potential recruits. Then they're going to filter it, based on looking at huddle videos or looking at, would this recruit really commit, to our school? One thing you helped us with, Bryan, is that level of play predictor. And I was recently in a sales call, and one of the recruiting coordinators said, that's a game changer because that saves us a lot of time. We don't spend a lot of time on recruits that are not going to be a fit, for our program. So they've got to go through all of this and make sure that the athletic ability of that recruit is a good fit, as well as that recruit would actually commit to that program. And it might be, would this guy move across the country? Not
Let,
everybody's like that. Yeah,
let alone their academic profile, which is kind of just table stakes. I mean, that's the first thing, but yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. And we do hear it. Some schools, it's a little more important than others, but I'm
Sure.
hearing it more and more from all schools about, having that academic profile. I mean,
Yeah.
and we just did a draw from our database, and we had over 3,000 players with a 3.6 GPA or higher in the ScoutSMART database. So it's competitive, guys.
Yeah.
Lots of good GPAs out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I think that gives a really solid peek behind the curtain on the process that they take. And that is not an overnight deal. That is an annual, they're daily working to refine and create a predictable way that they can make decisions. Unfortunately, school A versus school B and C, they do it all a little bit differently. And the way that they value and prioritize the things that Diane kind of shared as far as their goals and objectives and their needs and desires, they're all a little different. And you as a recruit, you'll never know that, nor will I, nor will Diane. Like those are trade secrets kind of held with lock and key. You can probably do some guesstimation based on roster depth, years, but even eligibility and how much eligibility a recruit would have on their current and active roster at a specific position is a little fluid right now, and so it's a bit of an inexact science if you want to try to inspect that, and those things change because rosters change and are as fluid now as they've ever been. Diane, here's the time where we talk about how together we've been trying to kind of work together, partner together for the last several years, collaborate. Why don't you give all of the recruits and families that we work with, give them like the couple-minute review of ScoutSMART and what you guys do, because we've kind of buried the lead here a little bit on that. But also, you can describe kind of what a profile would look like and what information that a coach would see, as well as kind of how we market our recruits together through your community's efforts. So if you could, that'd be great to share with everybody.
Certainly. So at ScoutSMART, we sell to the college programs. We're a subscription service for the college program. So it is, there's no cost for a recruit to be in our database. And we're spending a lot of our focus on making sure those college coaches are aware of the recruits that are included in ScoutSMART. And using data points, we help them predict the fit of a recruit. They can customize and really filter and find the recruits that are going to fit and stay in their program. And with Recruit Route, we've done a number of things. First of all, your recruits are automatically, we're going to get them in the ScoutSMART database. And then what we do with Recruit Route that we're not able to do with everyone that's in our database is we make sure that they're promoted on Twitter. We make sure they go out. We have a weekly email that goes out to about 150 coaches. We make sure the recruits are included in those emails. And then we've worked with you all to form a community. We believe that recruiting is really the process it involves a community, and that's the recruit, their family, the high school coach, the college coach, and then services such as Recruit Route. And so you all have developed your own community. A college coach can download our mobile app and take a look at your community without even subscribing. If they want to get more data and more analysis, they'll need to subscribe. But through our ScoutSMART First View app, they can actually go out and look at the Recruit Group community and the recruits that are there. And then you've also provided monthly content for our recruits to kind of make sure, we believe, like you said, let's demystify that recruiting process. We want it to be a level playing field. We want recruits to understand the process and be successful. And you've done that by allowing us to send, some short content to the recruits in our database to make sure they understand that.
All right, that's awesome. Diane, do you want to maybe show a quick example of what a recruit profile would look like and how a coach would consume and absorb ScoutSMART, just so that our kids understand this?
Of course. So this is one of the Recruit Route profiles. And as you can see, it shows him being in the Recruit Route community. And so this is what this is saved to my homepage. But the coach could also go into the search where we have more than 75,000 recruits and a lot of different ways to search those recruits. And then save this recruit, save Jackson, to their homepage for further analysis. So it's kind of like a recruiting board, if you will. And then here is his profile. These are the scores that make up the fit score. The coach really determines, what's most important to them. We look at stats. We compare the stats to all other players in that position nationally. So Jackson's doing pretty good here. He's got a 4.3 stat score. He's got a high GPA, a 3.8, so he's got a good SMART score. And then what we did too was we came up with skills per position. We worked with the NFL Scout, and we really looked at 30 years of data to come up with the skills that are the best predictors of performance. So if I go on down here, you'll see that there's his videos, there's his level of play. Here is his skills analysis. This was done by someone who is on staff at 24/7 Sports, who does some of these skill ratings for us. And then here are the stats. We can also include notes, exposures, if they went to a college campus or a coach came to their campus, combine data, if we can verify academics by uploading transcripts and test score reports. So this gives you a feel for what that profile looks like that coaches are viewing. And then they can also run some different analytics reports. You know, they can compare Jackson to other quarterbacks they're looking at to see who they really want to make that offer to.
Oh, that's awesome. So every one of the Recruit Route clients has a profile built like this. They have Diane and her team have already created all those. And if you've updated information, obviously that will get ported into this. And then for every college staff that subscribes to ScoutSMART, they're getting all of this updated information, as well as all the social promotion and so forth that Diane kind of referenced. Diane, this has been awesome. This is hugely beneficial. I know we try to share best practices together and share information with our community. And I appreciate you being with us today to give us a little bit of peek behind the curtain on the recruiting process and how ScoutSMART and Recruit Route are really trying to solve the problem together as partners. So thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Bryan. Thank you for your partnership on this.